All right. So what I'm going to do is mute you out. I know that there's about, well, there's supposed to be 24 in this group, so there's 10 still not in yet. I'm going to mute you guys, and I have to start the recording on time. I can't really wait. It's not like when I'm doing a workshop, I'll give them 5 more minutes, because the buffer of the buffer of the recording only runs an hour, which is why I've got to do that. I'll go over a few things before we get started, and you'll see me have to look around all over the place, because I have a chat box open over here, and I've got my attendees list over here, and I've got this screen that you're seeing right here, and then underneath that is another video screen that I've got to watch. So because that one has the timer running. And Della, you're back. Della was in the other class. Now, so there are a couple things I need to go over. As I mentioned, I'm looking at this screen right here, which is the camera. It's a Logitech camera that goes out to you in HD broadcast. Underneath that is the video feed that I record the class with, and it has a timer on it. In that timer, as we get going through the class, I'll give you timestamps. And if there's something that comes up and I forget to give a timestamp, use the chat box and say stamp ? If you just put a question mark in the chat box, then I know to open up your mic in case we can't find all our buttons and gizmos, which I'll go over in a second. I gotta make there's okay. So Amy's made it here. Great. Hey, Amy, you're muted out, but I'm glad you made it. All right, some of the things that you got to look for, and we'll do this now so you can start looking, is the hands up. That's an important one. That's the one to me that tells me you've got a question or there's an issue. And that's what makes this, that's how we know this is live, because I'm going to say, okay, Joe Blow, let's go ahead and open up your mic. So what I want you to do is next to your name or near your name in the attendees list is going to be a place where you can click, and that puts your hand up. Go ahead and see if you can find that. And then leave it up, because if you click it twice, it'll go down. Mike's found it. See, and I'm the only one that sees these hands go up. Keep going. Keep going. Go looking. Good, Amy. Leave it up there, Amy. Yeah, Rich, go ahead and leave it up there. Because I want to, I don't know why, unless you didn't click it down. If your hand's not up right now, go ahead and put it up. Then, if you can't find it, put it in the chat box that you can't find it, and let us know what system you're using. Okay? So Joan, let's see if you can find yours. Mr. McQueenie, Rich, Robert, Teresa. I still need hands up from you guys. All right. See if you can find. Can't find it. All right. So what kind of, Teresa? I'm going to open up your mic. What system are you on, Teresa?
I have a Windows 10.
Yeah. So go ahead and do you have your let me check you, Rich. Yeah, your hand's up, Rich. It's to, let's see. Barbara's saying it's to the left next to the top box attendees in the control panel on a Mac. Just about everybody's up right now. On Teresa, if you go ahead and right-click your name in the attendees box, you may find it there as well.
Okay.
Do you see it there? One, and you can't hurt anything, so kind of look around for it. But it's someone in the last class said it was just next to their name. Yeah, that's works. That's what. Yeah, that's what I figured. And I can't see any other controls for it. And then so Amy, you found it before. See if you can find yours again, and then Joan, see if you can find yours. Yeah, right-clicking is click your name, not left click, and you'll see it scroll out. But go ahead and be looking for it. There you go, Amy. And I'm going to put all these hands down, because I can do that from here. And just to test the system again, go ahead and throw your hand back up. And Teresa, there you go, Teresa, you found it. Because see, if there's any questions on anything, I'll just throw your hand up, and I see a yellow hand come up to next to your name. Now, the beauty of this is that I'm the only one that sees it. I guess apparently you can't tell in some cases if you've got it clicked up or not. I'll go ahead and click them down. Just keep looking forward if you haven't found it. Yeah, that's the beauty of this, is because I'm the only one that sees it. So if I said, "Man, did you crash on that or what?" and you click your hand up, then I know. And I don't need to say anything about it. I just need to know what's going on your side of the screen. Now, I don't open up your cameras because, and I mentioned this, Amy and I talked about this, there's going to be 24 of you in here, and I can only have 6 cameras open at one time, 6 screens open. So I don't do that. It also takes a little bit of time to get it opened up, so I just don't do it. It's really not necessary. I can, as we go in the regular class that starts in January, as we go along, they're not this large. The classes are not this large. There's usually 10, anywhere from, some classes may only have 2 in it. You know, it doesn't matter to me. I work, if you've been to my workshops, I work just as hard for 2 as I do for 20. So, but anyway, my point there is that we have, there's a little more time, there's less people in it, so I can open up your mics, and we can discuss what's going on. I can actually hear you play something. I don't need to see you play to tell if your right hand down ups are correct. I can hear that. I can hear if you've hit the right passage. I can hear if you're fretting cleanly. So I really just don't need to see. I've been doing this a long time. Okay. Any questions on anything so far? Just throw a hand up. I can open up your mic. It's quicker than just having to chat it in. Any questions, comments? All right. I like this guy, Nate Lee, that taught at camp this year. He said, I want to hear your questions. I don't want to hear your stories. And that was great, because that's when people end up monopolizing the time, and we have to go fairly quickly. Now, this is representing the 200 series. If the stuff we work on in here is tough for you, then you need to look at the 100 series if you're planning on signing in, and I hope you do. That's the point of this, is to get you familiar with the system so you can see how this runs. I did send out late. I sent out a sheet, a Rosewood Casket, and let's see, was it Mike or Michael that I think sent me a note saying, weren't you going to send this out? And I must have sent it out right when you sent that note to me. I meant to send it out right before I started the earlier class, but I had to shut my computer down because things were lagging. So anyway, I didn't get it out then, so I'm sorry. I got it out late. Got it about 20 minutes ago. Throw a hand up if you got a copy of this, or you can go ahead and print this out now. If you did, okay, good. Yeah, there you go. Okay, if you haven't checked your email, go ahead and check it. It'll come from flatpick.com. And also, I sent a Dropbox link. Now, the thing with Dropbox is I noticed that a lot of you were not Dropbox members, and I don't think you have to be a member in order to follow that link. And I had someone actually from Nevada go to get her Dropbox stuff, and it said she had to pay $10. You're not supposed to have to pay anything to get this. So let me know if you have trouble with the Dropbox file, because I also put the and Mr. McClure, I'm going to put your hand down and then throw it back up if there's a question there. Okay, let me open up your mic and we'll find out. Yes, sir. You're on the air. You're muted out on your side, though. Click your unmute you and then ask away.
Can you hear me now?
Just like you're next door.
Okay. Real quickly, so you said you sent this out about 20 minutes ago. The only thing I have is the reminder for this meeting from you. Was there supposed to be another one from Flatpick?
Yeah, see, the reminder comes from the service. It comes from this, it doesn't come from me. Yeah, there was another one that came from Flatpick. Now, there are some people, you know, back in August, they changed the email. Everything changed with email because they were contemplating trying to charge for it or whatever. And I've had several students that my email from flatpick.com gets blocked for whatever reason.
Oh,
but it's also in your Dropbox file. I put it in there in case people were having, yeah, but check your spam folder. Oh, that's where yours was, Joan? Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't see it in the spam folder.
So let me mute you out, and then just let me know what's going on there. I can't send it right now. Okay, Rich. And Joan, I don't think I ever saw your hand go up. Did you find that switch? Okay. And throw it up if you get a chance. Now, like I said, this is representing where we would start. There you go. With I got you, Joan. With the 200 series. What I like to do in that class is to each week do something by ear for ear training, and then as well have the written materials. The good thing about written materials is that you get it off the paper as soon as you can, and then you go, if you have any issues with it, you go back to the written materials and find what the problem is. But you get it off the paper as soon as you can. You're not expected to be reading it out of a book. You're supposed to memorize it. I've got emails coming. Since I did that, well, it's not there now, but I did that last class, and a lot of people are sending in emails how they appreciated that class. It went really well. I had 25 in it. Anyway, in this 200 series, like I said, I like to do. I don't do this in the 100 series, but I do it in this one, and do something by ear. It's either going to be a lick or a run or a. I don't use scales, but it could be a pattern of some kind or a song. And I think I'm going to do, well, I'm not sure. I may do a pattern. I may do a pattern. I think that's what I'm going to do. I have this DVD that came out, I think it was last year, called Licksercises. And what they wanted me to do with these, like scales and stuff like that. Oh, okay. I'm not sure what that link is, David, but if any of you need to find it, it's right there. Apparently, it's right there. Just go ahead and click on that link that he's got for you, and you should be able to download that Rosewood Casket. All all of this stuff is throwing my concentration off. So anyway, I did mention I want to do something by ear and something written. We'll get to this Rosewood Casket in a minute. It has usually when I teach stuff, I don't just teach a song. I embed a lesson into it, and sometimes it's hard to tell what the lesson really is because you're working so hard to get the song down. If you were doing that with this Rosewood Casket, as you get started on it, there's something in there. And that's what I like to do. And typically, it's going to be something that you won't necessarily notice until you get comfortable with it. Today, I'm going to explain it. But I want to work on something by ear first. I think what I want to do first off, well, I'll tell you. Whenever you see this background behind me, this is Flatpick Central South. This is the middle bedroom in our Florida house. You'll see the house is loaded with mermaids, and you'll see the one behind me. My shipping and receiving is this desk, and my warehouse is behind me there. All the product, So we ship constantly out of here, and yes, sent a bunch of stuff out this morning as well. I think people wait to see if they got it for Christmas, and then when they didn't, they go ahead and order it themselves. So anyway, I'm down here at Flatpick Central South. We are in Florida, in Cocoa Beach. This is where we go for after camp. We come down here to have our rehab session, and so it's just a comfortable place for us to go to after something like that. So we're here now. We just got back from Africa and had our jamming in Africa photo safari, and then Thanksgiving came around and we left right after Thanksgiving. So I just want to talk briefly about what equipment I'm using. This guitar is one I won at the Nationals a couple of years ago. I got second. It's a Martin D18 Golden Era. And the last one I won there was a D18 Marquis. And I didn't particularly care for it much. This one is and it was a D28 Marquis. Very nice guitar, but it wasn't mine. It wasn't for me. It just didn't talk to me. This one was really nice, and I love this guitar, but I keep it down here, so I have one here. And it has a wide fingerboard, which I prefer because I have short fingers. Now, why would that matter? Because when you when you go to hit your notes, left hand wise, you need to come straight into the fingerboard. You can't come at an angle. And if you come in as short finger people have to come in at an angle because we don't have the reach. If you have a little bit wider fingerboard, you have the reach around the strings that are you have more room between the strings. It's just a 1/16 of an inch spread between 6 strings, so it's not really much, but it's enough to change this to this. So anyway, I really like the. I'm going to bump this down just a hair. I really like that way the shine is not there. But I really like this guitar. So it's a D18 Golden Era. The picks I use are on the internet. They're called Steve's Too Thin Yellow Picks. And it's a Dunlop 73 millimeter like the Tortex. The Tortex has a turtle on it, and mine has a bear. And actually, these are 2019 camp picks. These are the ones I'll hand out at camp and send through the mail beforehand, give away at workshops. Okay. I want to go over some right-hand technique and some left-hand technique. I'm not going to go that deep into it because of the time factor, but typically in the class, I beat you up with it because the right-hand stuff is so important. Now I'll have to swing over a little bit. Also, I use the IntelliTouch tuners. It's a great tuner. They're actually out of business now. I've got a bunch of them still in stock because when he told me he's going out of business, I liked them so much I just bought up, a couple hundred of them. But it's a great tuner. It comes on bright red. When the note and you can see the needle, and when the note's in tune, it turns green. So it'll go. Okay. That's that you can't beat perfection like that. That's a solid digital sound. It shouldn't be buzzing, Kim. I don't know why it would be unless your speakers are too hot. But your voice was buzzing coming in too, so I think it might be on your system. It's hard to say. That's the first I've heard of it today, so I don't think it's not too hot. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. If anyone else has some trouble, then I can go ahead and maybe try to adjust it. But I don't know right now if I need to try to do that. I wonder what's going on with the voice. I mean, with the guitar. It typically does not do that. So now let me go ahead and turn the gain down on it a little bit. See if I can do that. Okay. Hold on, Amy. Hold on, guys. Let's see what. Let me go into properties. Hold on a sec. Let's check the levels. Shouldn't be. I'll bring the level down and see if it changes. I hadn't heard anything on that yet, so this is the first I've heard. Okay, I gotta keep going. Did that fix it at all? It should have gotten a little quieter. And Amy, I'm going to throw your hand down. If that's a question there, go ahead and throw it back up. Okay. All right. Let me see. What I was going to do is work on a song here. I was going to do New 5 Cents. But I want to work on a run or a pattern. So let me go back to the right and left hand technique and let's get that done first. All right, and I usually don't do this much in the 200 series anyway. I would do it on the first class and that's kind of it. On the first class, I do right hand review because we've done it in the 100 series. We do an ear training song and we work on a new piece. So that's kind of what we're going to do here. All right, right hand wise, I'm using a medium gauge pick because if I use something heavier than this, it starts to hurt my wrist, and I don't want any of that repetitive motion injury stuff because I have to actually drive that pick through the string, and I don't want to use muscle to do it. I use momentum, and we can do an example of that here in a second. So I'm using, like I said, medium gauge pick. I use the point, I don't use the round side. Mr. Curry will use the round side, and I come to find out why Dan holds the pick like he does. He uses 2 fingers and his thumb that pushes in the back. And he said that growing up where he did in Kansas, he could only get light gauge picks because that's what the rockers were using at that time. So he would get a light gauge pick, hold it with the 2 fingers, and then push his thumb in the back, and that would stiffen that pick up. That's where his technique comes from that way. John Hartford always used to tell me that people's style is based on their limitations. And that was the limitation for him. So it created the style. For me, I have short fingers, like I mentioned, and I play across the board this way. I don't play horizontally. I don't do much horizontally. I usually play positions using my cage system method. And that's found in the figuring out the fingerboard. That kind of stuff. And a lot of you, I'm sure, have that. I got to open another screen up. Hold on a second. Okay. So I'm using the side of my first finger and my thumb. My thumb is basically, the thumb is what adds the pressure to the pick. You can't do anything with your index finger. Now I'm using the side of my first finger. If I use my, and this is the way, the pick goes into the strings. With the side of my finger, if I turn this finger into my fingerprint, it takes the whole pick and twists it almost perpendicular. Right? So I'm using the side. That way I can line everything up on this side, and I'm not hitting the strings flat. I'm hitting it on about a 20-degree angle forward. And I don't know if I can get. Let me see if I can get a shot of that. So here's flat to the string. You can see that my thumb bends a little bit. I don't have to change my wrist. Here's flat. When I go to 20 degrees forward, my thumb bends a little bit, and what it actually does is lifts the right side of the pick up and has a contact of the left side on my down. So my downswing is the bottom of the pick, left side. The upswing is the top right side of the pick. And it'll stay that way all the way through. Okay, now, the class that I did before you guys today was an introduction to the rhythm and lead. This one is more just introduction into the lead. Okay, because the rhythm stuff in the 102 is full of bass walks, bass runs, full of, we're starting to use closed chords. And in the first series is learning our chords and getting started with bass walks and different kinds of rhythm. We have chord, transitional chords, kind of like my Beyond Basic Bluegrass DVD. Transitional chords in songs in the 102, and there's only 3 rhythm classes. The third one is a lot of swing stuff. Pretty much, it's a lot of swing, and what I do is I'm only doing 3 classes of rhythm, and the reason for that is because when you get to a certain point in rhythm, you're kind of done with it. You understand what you're supposed to do, and you can start to create your own things to do. So anyway, there's only those 3. This one we're going to just talk about more lead and less rhythm. So now when I'm playing my leads, again I've got my pick. With about a 20-degree angle, and I've got my little finger on the pick guard. I'm not going to be on the bridge at all. I'm not going to be resting on the strings. I'm not going to be playing freehand. Okay, I post my little finger. I don't want to call it an anchor because it's going to move quite a bit when I'm playing slow. So while I'm playing slow, it moves quite a bit. I was just reading my microphone thing. No, it's not hot on this side, so I'm really not sure why it would be buzzy for you guys. Maybe that's what happens in Florida. It is a legal state now, so there's a lot of buzz going on down here, I think. Amy, let me open up your mic. Hold on a second. Yes, young lady, you're on the air. Amy, are you with us? All right, let me mute you back out and we'll go on. Okay. are there any questions on right hand stuff? There's another thing I want to go over right hand wise, and that is go ahead and hold a G chord. What the right hand does is acts as a metronome, and it acts as a pendulum. And the right hand, if you were to just strum through your G chord on quarter notes are always hit with downs. Eighth notes alternate down and then up. If it's a numbered beat of the measure, it's going to be hit with a downswing. If it's an and beat, it'll be hit with an upbeat, an upswing. Okay. All right. So if we're going to go ahead and just strum through that on quarter notes, and I'll do it quietly so I don't rattle your speakers. Okay. That's on quarters. Now what you'll notice here is the right hand never stops. Right? As soon as it goes down, it comes back up to hit the next one, but it just keeps this constant motion going. If I keep a constant motion going, I never, if I stop my right hand to hit the next strum, then I have to guess when the time of the next strum will be. But if I keep the motion going and keep the flow going, Luke, then I don't have to guess at the time. My right hand does it for me. So that's the pendulum. That's the right hand metronome I'm talking about. So your quarter notes are always down. Your eighth notes alternate. Right? And this is going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. So the and beats are your upswings. That's the amoeba of flat picking. If you do that, then things will, your playing will be so smooth eventually, because usually the jaggedness of the solos comes from improper right hand technique. It's usually right there. It's hitting, and you know what people do is they say, well, I know I'm doing it, but I just can't stop it. Stop it. You know, that's the whole problem right there. Usually when people come to me and say, I can play this fast, but I can't get any faster. I usually, it's, well, are you practicing a lot? Yeah. But do you know a lot of songs? Because that tells me how long they've been doing this. If you had 15 songs down, that's not a lot of time in. If you had 50 or 100 tunes that you're playing, that's a lot of time in there. So then I say, okay, then they've got that. So now it comes down to right hand mechanical failure. And that's not having your down ups correct usually. It could be using too heavy a pick. It could be that you're on the bridge. You know, all of those things can be problematic. So I try to avoid those things. Okay, questions, comments? Left hand wise, the only thing I'd like to tell people about is you don't hold it like a baseball bat. Let your thumb drop down a little bit in the back while you're playing your notes and your melodies so that you have lots of air underneath. This should be very open under here. Your hand doesn't need to be touching the bottom of the neck unless you don't have a strap and you have to hold it up with that hand. But otherwise, it doesn't need to be there. Mine kind of, because I've got these short fingers, kind of bounces off this one knuckle right here. Okay, so I may bump that a little bit. Okay, but other than that, it's a very loose left hand. Your fingers are pushed up in the fret as far as possible, and you've practiced holding the notes with as little pressure on the left hand as possible. That's what you have to do. If you have any questions on that, throw your hand up. You're not supposed to have, your calluses are not supposed to look like you've got dimes glued on your fingers. Okay. All right. So now let's see. I want to do a pattern. Let's try this. Play this. I'm going to do a measure. Right, now they're all eighth notes. That now means, once you've heard that they're all eighth notes, that now means you're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Now, when I play in the key of G, I play the leads at a second position. This is flat picker's second position. Now I'm going to give a timestamp. I'm at 29 minutes and 45 seconds. Okay? Flat picker's second position is not like a classical thing. is, and it's something I made up anyway, is that my first finger is going to hit all the second fret notes, second finger hits the third fret, third finger hits the fourth fret. If I needed to hit the fifth fret, it'd be my little finger. The reason for this is because when I play in the key of G, if you're playing solos now, and you'll know this, you don't hit very many first frets, right? When there is a first fret that comes in, I shift back because I'm going to have an open string around it. You use, when you do this pattern, this playing in second position like this, you use open strings when available. All right, so I didn't do this. When I do that, I can move it to anywhere. But the point of this is not to move it around. The point of it is to have the flat picking sound, which is going to incorporate open strings against the closed strings. That's the flat picking. You want the open strings in there for the hard drive and stuff. That's what it sound. That's what we do. And then the ease of position. Now I play my G chord with my first two fingers on the bass and my little finger on the first string. Okay, because when I finish a run, I want to be ready to jump right into my chord. But if I held my chord this way, I would hit that last note and then have to change position. You don't need to do that. So play your solos in second position in the key of G. When you have to hit a first fret, you're going to have an open string around it at some point, so you can shift your hand back. And as soon as you're done with that necessity for the first fret, then bring it back up to second. All right? So what we're going to do here is the first two fingers are going to get the first two measures of this little, or the first measure of this pattern. Okay? Here's what we're doing. And there's a couple places in here that are trouble. But let's go ahead and hit it first. So it's hitting the sixth string 3, 2, 3, and then the fifth string open. When you hit that fifth string open, it needs to be an upswing because it's an and beat. So it's 1 and 2 and. You got to hit it up. Okay? And there are people that argue that it's economy of motion to just drag that pick down. That's not economy of motion. That's going to make you screw up because you're going to have to guess when you're supposed to hit that next note. But if your pendulum tells you it's time, it's time. Okay? If you hit it on a downswing, you're going to be a little late to the note. When you hit it on an upswing, it's going to surprise you that it came so quickly. That's just what happens. All right, so it's on the sixth string, 3, 2, 3, fifth string open. Okay, then you're going to hit the B on the fifth string, 2, second fret, first finger. Then back to the sixth string on an upswing, fifth string open to the 2. Okay? Let me slow it down again. Okay, hold it there. Does anyone have any question on that? Throw a hand up. I can just open up your mic. Okay, now, I gave you the timestamp. Right now, we're at 34 minutes. Okay? So, and the reason I do that is you can go to the YouTube clip that you'll get in a little while and go right up to 34 minutes. Okay? And be right where we're at. All right, so let me hit that one more time. Let's do it together just 2 or 3 times. 3 and 4 and go. Again. Hold it there. Hold it there. All right. There weren't any questions before. I can ask again. Any questions, throw a hand up and we can open your mic. Are you missing any notes or don't be bashful because the time goes by really quickly. Anything there? All right. So now here's why I wanted to do that. This is the primarily Big Sandy River, Kenny Baker song, right? then it goes twice. But the second part does this. Okay, all right. So here's the beauty of guitar, and this is what I wanted to go over here, is that when you do a run in C or a run in G, you could just move it to the next string. So here we have this G run. If I go down one string, up one string, however you want to call it, from the 6th string, now started on the 5th string. I'm now doing it for C. I'm doing the same run, same fingering, same pattern. But I did it for G before, now I'm doing it for C. Now it's starting on a G note the first time, which is primarily, besides the fact that it has G tone colors to it, it's the only way I know that it's a G run, because it's starting on the root. Doesn't always have to be that way, right? But it is. So now when I move to the next string, I'm starting on a C note. Okay? If I take that, and use your chat box, I'm just curious who's going to jump this in there. If I take that run, I started on the 6th string, I started on the 5th string. If I start on the 4th string, what chord is that run for? Just someone chat it in. And it doesn't have to be capital. No, I'm going to go ahead. No, yeah, see, Mike, I'm not going to use the open 4th string. I did that before, but now I'm doing something else because I've thrown you off the scent. Right, Kim, it's going to be, if I started on the 6th string 3, I went to the 5th string 3, now I'm going to the 4th string 3. 4th string 3rd fret. Right. So now it would be an F run. If I went to the next string, it would be a B flat run, but I have to change something because we're now incorporating that 2nd string, which we all know that someone put in the wrong place. I don't know why we got to tune at the 4th fret there. We should have done something completely different. But that's the way it turned out. So I have to move to a different location. And I can't do it on the 1st string either now, because of that dang second fret, 2nd string move back one. All right, but I have a G here, C, F, B flat. So all I have to do is move it to another string, which is really cool with guitar. And I don't know if you've picked up on that before. So anytime you learn a G run, you're also learning a C run and you're learning an F run. That's the beauty of it. So let's finish this part out. You got starts on G. Move it down one string. Go ahead and do that. And if you can't do it now, you're not supposed to be able to. You can practice this. Okay? Okay? All right, now, when I pause like that, I'm not having a stroke or a seizure. I'm just trying to see, well, there are 2 ways I can explain this. Right, Barbara? There's 2 ways I can explain this. I'm going to use the same syllables. Dot, 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 dot. It's 8 notes. Dot, 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 dot. 8 notes. 8 syllables. The same pattern. Boom, 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 boom. Right? Same pattern. Now I'm going to start it on the 4th string open. It's going to be a D run because I'm starting on D. This one went back started on a root, went back 1 fret, back to the original place, went a whole step. So I can use that kind of math to figure out how to transpose a run to a different chord. Not necessarily key in this case, just a different chord. So I'm going to hit the D. The note right before D is a C sharp, and then back to the D, and then a whole step. And that'll get me started. So it's a 4th string open, 5th string 4, 4th string open, 4th string 2, and then it kept going up. Drop back. So it's in second position. So I can easily hit all these notes. If I played in first position like this first finger would be sitting back here saying, oh, please use me next. Use me on something. Use me. Oh man. It's just a waste of a digit back there. So we move it on up. Okay. All right. Hit that D run. Okay. Throw a hand up if you got any question on that. Okay, now, the same logic is applying now to what we did with G to C to F. I'm starting on a D, right? The D is the open string. If I move that one string this way to the fifth string and do the exact same frets, what run am I doing? For what chord, not key, but what chord am I doing the run for? I was on the fourth string, I'm now moving to the fifth. A is correct. Right? If I go to the third string, come on back. Come on back. If I go to the third string, what's that for? Correct, G. Right? So these runs, when you learn one run, you're not learning one run. You're learning them for a bunch of different chords, a bunch of different keys. And we've taken the same run and done it in 2 different positions and gotten 6 chords out of it. You can't do it for E. You would have to make up something different. Right? You just have to make up, because I have to leave out that one note that dipped down. Right? So I don't have it. So I have to be creative at this point and make up something different. But I can take the idea of a run and learn it for all my chords that I play out of. It's really cool. Questions, comments? Any questions there? Throw a hand up. You know, and that's kind of like what I try to preach a little bit in the figuring out the fingerboard. Because when you get to a certain point, and you can see things that way, like I just explained it, you're not limited by any keys. You're limited by experience. And the experience is the experience of knowing what the note is going to sound like before you hit it. You know, that's the difference between, I haven't heard any of you play. Well, a few of you I know. But without hearing the level that you play at, this statement may not make sense, but the difference between you trying to find something on the guitar and me trying to find it is that I have a great idea of where the note is going to be before I hit it. I'm either going to hit it dead on the first time I go for it, or I'm going to be close. Now, and the other thing that happens is that I've learned a ton of tunes, which means I've learned a ton of different melody lines, just melody lines. And when all these melody lines went into my head, eventually, when I got to this point that I'm talking about now of playing, they all are in the same key. Doesn't matter what key they're in. Doesn't matter. There's B. There's playing that same thing in B. See, once I hit the first note and I have the idea of what I want it to sound like, all the other notes follow in sequence behind it, or, yeah, after it. But I'm playing it in my head, and I'm starting on a note, and I don't know where the next one is because I haven't studied it, but I know where the next one is because I have the intuition to be able to tell where it is. And that's the difference between that's the experience talking. That's all that is. I've hit these frets so many times that I kind of get an idea what it sounds like. You, on the other hand, can try things like that. Like one of the practice things I did was I would take a song and try to play it all on one string. I didn't know where that was. You see, I shot up for it. I was going to hope to hit it. And I didn't know I was playing in E flat. I didn't know. But it didn't matter. because I'm just going to play one note after the other. I'm going to do it on one string so I can get used to how far apart the notes are from each other. So I can get used to the intervals. It's like when I said, so the first note you hit it, then you go back one fret, and then we did it for A. So you hit the first note, you go back one fret, back to where you started. That's the way my mind is thinking. And then I have a whole step, or I have 2 frets. Okay? Okay? And then I take it from there, and then I just go on from it. So it's a really neat way of thinking. And when you finally get that down, then you'll be able to play anything that's in your head in any key that you're playing. It's really cool. Now the chords are another thing. I don't like doing it with chords. All right, we're at 46 minutes. I want to go over this Rosewood Casket. Let me show you what we got here. I'm going to play through it one time. Okay. I put it in the key of C. Some of you may. Does anyone throw a hand up if you already play something in the Rosewood Casket? You'll also notice at the bottom of the second page, no hands went up. That's good. I try to find something no one knows so we're all on the same page with it. At the bottom of the second page, I also put a hyperlink there. Oh, yeah, Della, let me see. So you would use the G run with the chord at the end and progress onto the C run. Yeah, I didn't finish that because I got caught up in something. Here's what I wanted to do. Now for D, and then I'm going to resolve to G, and I could do the same run, and then back again. It goes twice. Usually what you do is after the D one, you bring it back down low, and I would just use quarter notes. So G, E, D, B, and then back down. And that is the second part to Big Sandy River. So what I would normally do is show you a song that has something embedded in it. And what was embedded in this is being able to take a run and moving it to different chords, not necessarily different keys. That was the point of it. So Della, I hope that answered your question. That was just really a one measure pattern that we moved to 3 different chords that made up the song B part of Big Sandy River. And it took a long time to get around it, but that's what it did. Let me hit this Rosewood Casket before we run out of time, because I got something I want to show you up here. Let me show you this first. What I'm going to do here to fill it out is I'm going to add strums. Now on the Dropbox file that you got, I did it 2 different ways. I did it exactly the way it's written, so it's nice and clean. And then the second version I added the chords in of what I'm going to talk about right now. Wherever I have a 2-beat note or a 3-beat note, I think there are only 2 beaters in this one, half notes. It takes 1 beat to hit the note. I have 1 beat left over, so instead of waiting on it, I'm going to pop in whatever chord is written above the measure. So the first measure would sound like this with a G note, okay, and then a strum, the F note, and then a G7 chord. Now, I only need 1 finger G7 because I'm only going to strum the high strings. I don't need to go down to the bass, which means I can leave my melody note ringing, which gives me more sustain, which makes me sound professional. Okay, let's look at the third measure here. That's the first one we've got with a string of eighth notes. The pickup notes are, and I've marked those down up in the beginning. Whenever you have eighth notes, the notes beam together. The first one's down, the next one's up. That's your one and. Okay, it's your and beat. It has to be an upswing. If you do it down, you're going down that bad path. You're going. Can I hear an amen? You got to hit the and beats on an up. All right, so let's look at the third measure here. The first note's a quarter note. That's going to be a down. The next one's a hammer-on. You're only going to hit the first one, and the left hand is going to sound the next note. Okay? Let's see. Down, down. All right, now I have 4 eighth notes. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And that last up, down, up, set my pickup to go down on the next note, which is a quarter note. Okay, Joan. Happy New Year. Okay? All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and add these strums in as we go, so you'll see it fill it out. First ending. All right, so if you didn't know, is there anyone here that doesn't know how to read notes or tab? Throw a hand up if that's the case. All right, so we're all on the same page here. We all do the notes and tab. All right, so if you didn't know, you have a first and second endings. Those are repeats. The first part goes twice, this verse, and that's why you'll see 2 lines of words there. I put the first and second verse there. So the first time through, you start off with your pickup notes. You go on down to the bottom end of the first page. You got a repeat sign. That sends you back to the top. The top means that you're going back to the last place you saw a repeat sign, or the very beginning. In this case, there is a repeat sign. So I go back to the repeat sign. I come down the second time. When I get to the last line, I'm going to skip over that first ending and go on to the second ending, which is the beginning of the second page. Okay? And then I go on to the end. Then someone plays a break to it. Now, they may take the solo and do just the verse. Or they may do the verse and the chorus. They usually probably would not do two verses and a chorus solo. Probably not. But it depends. If you got time to do it, do it. All right, so now I hit the first ending, I would go back. Let me go ahead and do the last line as if it's the second time. One finger G7. I'm the champ. I only need one finger. I don't have to use them all. Okay, what I'm getting at is it works for me. It should work for you. I don't have to work that hard. I don't need this. I can just do this. Okay? I wasn't bragging. I messed that one up. Are there any questions on what just happened there? Throw a hand up if there are. Don't be bashful. Okay, I'm at 54 minutes right now, so this will give me enough time to do this. What I did here was Rosewood Casket goes like this. What I did was I left out all of these runs, okay? All of these connecting runs. And these are short one measure or half measure runs. Look at that are inserted into C stuff, because this is a key of C, this is C tune. So if you look at the third measure, you'll see that there's a word for the first note and the second note, right? The third note there is a slur hammer on. That's your voice would probably do that. And then the last half of that measure is filler. Okay. The next part, you'll see where the words are. It's under the C and then under the E. But this is, if you had those as melody notes, you could use those 4 notes to do the same thing. See, so it fills out just the melody, but the melody is incorporated. All right. Now look at the second line, third measure. There's that same run again as we had on the first line. Okay. Let's look at the third line. You have a run in there. The third measure, the first quarter note is the melody, and the first note of the next part is the melody, and it's a thing that your voice might do anyway. So now we have the last half of that measure, and then resolve. I'm resolving at the first note of the next measure. Okay, the measure directly above that, and directly above that. Okay. They take the same amount of time. Now you have 2 different runs. Those 2 runs, on the first line, third measure, second line, third measure, that's the same run. On the third line, third measure, it's a different run, but it does the same purpose, which means that that one can go up top or go in on, it can go to the first line or the second line. See, it's interchangeable. That's cool. So you're not learning a run that is, you're not learning a song and an arrangement that is Rosewood Casket. You're learning a song that has interchangeable runs that you can take out of this and move it there. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? So let's look at this now. Third line, or let's see, fourth line. Now we have a 3-beat run. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you could, the reason I was hesitating or staring off to the distance is because that fourth line, third measure, it's the same thing. It's that spot of the song. It's always on these vocals. That's where it's going to be the measures 3 and 4. 7 and 8, it's always those places that have places for runs to go in, because it's a turnaround thing, or it's a turnaround being like if this was a fiddle tune, that the fourth measure would have probably been a G7 in the key of C, and that's a turnaround because a G7 brings you back to C. Okay, and you know that the chord after, if I hear a G7, I'm probably going to C. So it's a turnaround. It brings you back. Okay, so in this case, on the third and fourth measure, it was just it's another run, 7 and 8. Then it repeats itself. You got the next 2 lines, which are really like same kind of format. All right, so now we have this run on the third line, on the fourth line. That's a 3-beat run. 2, 3, 4, low C. I got 2 minutes. I got 1 minute. I got to wrap this. Let me tell you what we're doing here. All of these runs are in some way interchangeable. They're also not just for C, because we learned that we can move it to a different string and do a different run. Let me take the first one. I'll just do the third measure. Right? Let me move it down a string. Move it up a string. Let's see. I don't know where to move it on. There it is for F. Same thing. All right, and you could do it for G, and you could do it for A, and you may have to work out something else to do it for E. But here's the point of this now. When you get this song down and you learn these little tiny half measure and 3/4 of measure runs, try to interchange them with other runs in this song that have the same format. 3 beats or 2-beat run. Okay? See how they're going to fit. If it doesn't fit, you don't do it. That's okay. Now the recording's going to go click right here. Boom.